Good morning. My name is Tim from Plugged In Leadership, and you are checking out Wealth Wednesdays on the show. Good morning. Glad that you have decided to check things out this morning. I was having a conversation with a friend a few years ago, and this is going to sound overly simplistic, but I think sometimes it can be this simplistic. And so we were having a conversation, and he was talking about how he wasn't able to make ends meet with his car. He had some repairs on his car that he had to do, and he really couldn't figure out why that his car kept breaking down and where he was going to get the money to fix it. And through the conversation, I asked him, where do you spend most of your money? And he was like, I really honestly have no idea. And so I asked him to keep track of expenses over the next few weeks. I said, okay, we're meeting this week. Let's meet next week. And between now and next week, keep track of your expenses. And so he did that, and he kept track of his expenses. And he realized that in that weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then coming into Sunday, he spent nearly $150 on going out and drinking. Now, one might say, well, he has a drinking problem, but he just didn't realize how much money he was spending on drinking. So if he's spending on average $100, $150 a week, he's making a decent living. I mean, he's getting paid above minimum wage. He was a single guy, kind of living on his own, had a son that came and lived with him a little bit here and there. But he couldn't figure out why he wasn't able to pay for these car repairs and why he felt like he was having trouble putting gas in his car. And when he actually tracked his expenses, he realized that he was spending a lot more money on drinking on the weekends and going out than he had realized. And so once we started to be intentional about looking at his expenses and looking at his finances, he started to realize, whoa, I need to cut way back on what I'm spending on the weekends going out. And his ability to repair his car and lots of other things started to improve. And I think that's the same situation that a lot of us find ourselves in. Last week, I talked about Dave Ramsey's baby steps. And his first baby step is to get $1,000 in the bank in an emergency fund. So if you want to know quickly how to do that, you can check out last Wednesday's episode, and you can go on YouTube and search Wealth Wednesday, hashtag teawithtim. You can also just search hashtag teawithtim. You can also do that on social media, on Facebook or whatnot, and find that episode. Today, we're talking a little bit about budgeting. Baby step number 2 from Dave Ramsey is pay off debt. So once you have that $1,000 in the bank, you need to pay off debt. Now, the reason I'm talking about Wealth Wednesdays, the reason why we're even discussing finances is it's really coming down to personal leadership, your ability to lead yourself into a place of success. To be able to, the first person that we have to learn to lead is ourselves. And if our finances are just crazy and out of whack and all over the place, that is a good indication that we're not leading ourselves well. So we need to start with leading ourselves, and then we can lead others. So this is an area that we can look at. There's so many parallels between good finances, good handle on finances, wealth building, being able to live out your dreams, and being able to live out your dreams when it comes to leadership. So I think they're very much tied together. So you'll notice that in the description of this video, I have a link, and it's a Dropbox link. And in that Dropbox link, there is a worksheet, an Excel sheet. Again, I am not a financial planner. This is what I use to help navigate my budget. So if you click on that link, you can download it. It's an Excel form. Go ahead and do a file save as and save it as your name or your budget or whatever 2018 budget year. And in the top, there's a place where you can put your average income, where you can look at last month or the month before and kind of look at your bank statement and see what you brought in, and then plug that number in. And then what it's going to do, it's automatically going to populate the amount of money or the expenditures in all the different categories based on a percentage. Now, that's an average percentage. you obviously, and the right side of the page, if you're looking at it, has a number that's right now it's at 100, and all those percents add up to 100. So if you add 1 or 2% to something, you need to subtract 1 or 2% from something else so the number stays 100, because you shouldn't be budgeting for 105% income, because you don't make 105%, you only make 100%. You can only budget for 100% of your income. Seems simple, but a lot of us kind of miss that sometimes. We spend more money than we make, and that's why we end up being in the hole. So this is just a really practical way that you can look at your budget and know pretty much what you're spending on things, or what you should be spending on things. So the numbers can be adjusted here or there, but one of the categories, the top category, is like housing expenses. Your housing expenses should be somewhere between 15 and 25% of your monthly income. If your if your housing expenses, or your rent or your mortgage, is more than 25% of your average monthly take-home pay, you either need to get another job and make some more money, or you need to maybe look at relocating to a better living situation, so that's more in line. Now, again, there's other things that are going to be varied. Your health insurance, your car insurance might be different depending on if you've had accidents, or if you've been a really great driver, or if you don't need all of the different comprehension or collision. So those are some different ways that we'll talk about in the future that you can look at adjusting some of those numbers in the budget to really maximize your monthly income. But just sitting down and going through the numbers and putting in your monthly income and seeing approximately with the worksheet that I've provided what you should be, or what's kind of normal, or what's average spending for each one of those categories, is a great first place to start. And then there's a category in there that says, personal debt and miscellaneous. You want to try to get that number as high as you can if you have debt. If you have credit card debt, student loan debt, any of those, like, Lowe's credit card, or if you just have like a MasterCard that you put stuff on or whatever, you want to be able to pay that off as fast as possible. Baby step number 2 from Dave Ramsey is the debt snowball. I've talked a little bit about that in the past. The debt snowball is looking at all of your different debts, taking all of them together, and paying off the smallest one first. So the minimum on all the rest, and then put as much as you possibly can on that smallest debt and get that thing paid off as fast as possible. And then you snowball, you roll over that amount of money that you're paying on that smallest one. When it's paid off, you roll that one over to the next smallest, and the next smallest, and the next smallest, and the next smallest, until they're all paid off. So that's baby step number 2 from Dave Ramsey. Get a budget together, download the app, if it's the Every Dollar app from Dave Ramsey, or Mint, or Virtual Wallet, or whatever you use, and get a budget together. This is part of your growth mindset that I talk about, and part of giving up to go up that I talk about, the law of sacrifice. We need to get our self-leadership in order, and part of that is our finances. As always, share this video and you'll be entered into the weekly resource drawing. Yesterday's video was awesome. Adam Frano was talking about his not yet story. Tomorrow, I'm going to have my friend Jacob on, and he's going to tell a similar story, something that happened to him. It's going to be awesome. Tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm excited for what's coming up in the future. I got some announcements probably on Friday I'm going to make about the future of Tea with Tim. All right, that's it for me today. Thanks. I will see you tomorrow when we sit down with Jacob. All right, talk to you then. Bye.